Hello, everyone! Ready to level up your English today? I have a fantastic short story for you. It's filled with common everyday phrases and 5 very important words that every fluent speaker knows. Can you spot all 5 words before the story ends? Listen carefully until the end and let's see how much you understand. Here we go. The Last Appointment. A story for English learners, intermediate level. She found the letter on a Tuesday morning, tucked between a gas bill and a pizza flyer. No stamp, no return address, just her name, Elena Marsh, written in handwriting she hadn't seen in 11 years. The handwriting of a dead man. Elena was the kind of person who kept everything organized. Her apartment had labeled shelves, color-coded folders, and a calendar on the wall where every hour was planned. She was a nurse at St. Carol's Hospital in the city center, and her life ran like a hospital schedule, precise, efficient, and always moving forward. She didn't have time for mysteries, but the letter sat on her kitchen table all morning while she drank her coffee and tried to ignore it. The handwriting was unmistakable. Round letters, a small loop on the letter EHS, a slight tilt to the right. It belonged to her father, Thomas Marsh, who had died of a heart attack 11 years ago in this very apartment. She was 22 when it happened. She found him in the armchair by the window, a book open on his lap, his glasses still on his face. The doctors said it was quick. They said he didn't suffer. Elena had never been sure she believed them. Now she picked up the letter and opened it slowly, as if it might disappear if she moved too fast. Inside was a single card. On the front was a printed logo, a small blue clock with the words, Marsh & Associates, Personal Planning Services. And below the logo, in her father's handwriting, Elena, your appointment is tomorrow. 9 a.m., 14 Harbor Lane. Don't be like, you are always late. Dad. She almost threw it away. She almost laughed. Someone was playing a cruel joke. A neighbor, maybe. Or someone who knew her father, who remembered his handwriting. Who thought this was funny? People did strange things, but she didn't throw it away. Instead, she called the hospital and took a personal day, something she had not done in 3 years. She sat at her computer and searched for Marsh & Associates, 14 Harbor Lane. Nothing appeared. No website, no reviews, no social media. She searched the city records. The address existed. It was a small street near the old port, but there was no business registered there under that name. She searched her father's name, Thomas Marsh. There were old newspaper articles, his retirement announcement from the city planning office, a photo from a community award ceremony, his obituary. In the photo, he was smiling in his usual way, a little shy, a little proud. She had forgotten how young he looked.
He was 54 when he died. She was now 33. In 7 more years, she would be older than her father ever was. She had been trying not to think about that. That evening, Elena called her older brother Daniel. "Do you remember Dad ever mentioning a business?" she asked. "Something called Marsh & Associates?" Daniel was quiet for a moment. He lived in another city now, 3 hours away, with his wife and 2 children. They spoke on birthdays and holidays. Sometimes not even then. "No," he said. "Why?" "I got a strange letter today." "Elena," his voice had that familiar tone. Careful, slightly tired. The tone he used when he thought she was about to do something he didn't approve of. "What kind of letter?" "It's nothing," she said. "Forget it." She hung up before he could ask more questions. The next morning, Elena woke up at 7. She told herself she was not going to Harbor Lane. She made coffee. She read the news on her phone. She watered her plants, 3 small green ones on the windowsill that she sometimes forgot to water for weeks. At 8:15, she put on her coat and left the apartment. Harbor Lane was a narrow street that ran along the edge of the old port district. Most of the buildings there were old stone warehouses, some converted into restaurants or offices, some still empty. The street smelled of salt water and coffee from a cafe on the corner. Number 14 was a small 2-story building with a dark blue door and a brass handle. There was no sign on the outside, no business name, no hours posted. Just the door slightly worn at the edges, with a small brass knocker shaped like an anchor. Elena stood outside for a long moment. A man walking a dog passed behind her. A seagull landed on the roof above and then flew away. The wind came off the water and moved her hair across her face. She knocked. The door opened almost immediately, as if someone had been waiting just on the other side. The woman who opened it was in her 60s, small, with short silver hair and reading glasses pushed up on her head. She wore a blue cardigan and carried a clipboard. "Miss Marsh," the woman said. It was not a question. "Yes," Elena said carefully. "I have an appointment, apparently." "Yes, you do." The woman stepped back and held the door open. "Please come in. My name is Ruth. I'll be your coordinator today." "My coordinator for what, exactly?" Ruth smiled, a small, professional smile. "That depends entirely on you. Please come in. We have tea." Inside, the building was warmer than Elena expected. The front room had tall wooden bookshelves, 2 armchairs by a window that looked out onto the harbor, and a small round table with a teapot and 2 cups already set out. On the walls were framed maps of the city, old ones from different decades: 1940, 1965, 1988, 2003. Each one showed the city at a different time, growing and changing. "Sit, please," Ruth said, gesturing to one of the armchairs. Elena sat. She looked around the room. There was no computer, no modern equipment, just books, maps, and the quiet sound of water somewhere nearby. "I need to ask an obvious question," Elena said. "Of course. My father has been dead for 11 years. How did I receive a letter in his handwriting?" Ruth poured tea into both cups. She didn't hurry. She set the teapot down carefully, straightened the small jug of milk, and then sat in the other chair and looked at Elena with calm, steady eyes. "Your father set up this appointment before he died," Ruth said. "He was a client of ours for many years. He made arrangements for certain communications to be sent at specific times. The letter you received was one of those arrangements." Elena stared at her. "He planned the letter 11 years ago?" "He planned several things, yes. He was a very organized man." Elena almost laughed again. A real laugh this time, surprised out of her. "He used to say that about me." "He said it about himself first, I think." Ruth's eyes were kind. "He left a number of things for you. But he also left something for your brother." "For Daniel?" "Yes. Though Daniel has not yet responded to his letter." Ruth paused. "That is not your concern today. Today is about you." Ruth led Elena to a back room, quieter, smaller, with a single desk and a lamp that cast warm yellow light. On the desk was a wooden box, old and polished, with a simple latch. "Your father asked us to give you this when you were ready," Ruth said. "He said you would know when that was." "How would I know?" "He said," Ruth glanced at her clipboard, reading carefully, "she'll come when she stopped running. She runs from things she loves. She always has. When she finally stops, she'll be ready to look back." The room was very quiet. Elena looked at the box. Running from things she loved. She thought about Daniel 3 hours away, and the birthday calls that got shorter every year. She thought about the man she had dated for 2 years, Marcus, who had asked her once why she worked so much, and she had told him it was because she cared about her patients. And that was true, but it wasn't the whole truth. She thought about the 3 plants on her windowsill that she sometimes forgot to water, and how she had almost bought a cat last year but talked herself out of it. She thought about her father in the armchair by the window, his book open on his lap. She had never moved the armchair. It was still there in the same corner 11 years later. "I'd like to open it," Elena said. Inside the box were 3 things. The first was a photograph. Elena and her father standing outside a lighthouse on the coast. She was about 12, maybe 13. She was laughing at something. She couldn't remember what. Her father had his arm around her shoulders, and he was laughing too, his head tilted back, his eyes almost closed with it. She had never seen this photograph before. The second was a folded piece of paper, A letter written in her father's handwriting. Long, several pages. The third was a small key on a plain ring, with a paper tag that read, Storage Unit 7. Caro Self-Storage, Marina Road. The books are yours. Her father had been an enormous reader. Elena had always felt vaguely guilty about that. She had been too overwhelmed at the time to think carefully about what to keep. She held the key in her palm. He saved them, she said. He said you would want them someday, even if you didn't know it yet. Elena read the letter from her father sitting in the armchair by the window. He had written it over several days, he explained, during the last months of his life. He had known, by then, that his heart was not well. The doctors had told him. He hadn't wanted them to worry. He should have told them. He wrote about the things he wished he had said out loud. He told her that he was proud of her, not because of her grades or her career, but because she had always felt things deeply, even when she pretended not to. He told her that her habit of organizing everything was something she had learned from him, and he was sorry if it had made her afraid of the messy parts of life, because the messy parts were often the best parts. He told her to call Daniel more. He told her that the lighthouse in the photograph was the place where he had proposed to her mother, and that he hoped she would go there someday. He told her that the armchair by the window was comfortable and she should keep it. You were always late, he had written at the end of the letter, but you always showed up. That's the thing that matters. Elena left Harbor Lane at noon. She stood on the street for a moment with a wooden box under her arm, looking out at the water. The seagulls were loud. The cafe on the corner smelled like fresh bread now. She took out her phone and called Daniel. He answered on the third ring, surprised. Elena, is everything okay? I think so, she said. I'm near the harbor. From Dad. I think you might have a letter coming too. She paused. How are the kids? Warmer and a little uncertain, like someone stepping into a room they hadn't been in for a long time. Mia learned to ride her bike last week without training wheels. That's great, Elena said, and she meant it. I'd like to see that sometime. Yeah, Danielle said. Yeah, I'd like that too. She went to the storage unit that afternoon. The books were there, hundreds of them, packed carefully in labeled boxes, history, science, novels, travel guides, poetry, all of them her father's. All of them waiting. She sat on the floor between the boxes for a long time, running her fingers along the spines, reading the titles. Outside, the city continued its ordinary day. Somewhere a clock struck 2. A train passed in the distance. The afternoon light came through the small high window of the storage unit and lay in a long rectangle on the concrete floor, golden and quiet. Elena was not late this time. She had at last arrived. And that's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you so much for staying until the very end. It shows how dedicated you are to mastering English. To make sure you don't miss our next story challenge, click that subscribe button right now and turn on the notifications. Have a wonderful day, stay curious, and see you very soon.